We're going to start with the concept of momentum. Momentum is how hard it is to stop a moving object. We can calculate the momentum by taking the mass times the velocity of an object. We can write this as P equals mv. The unit for momentum is just kilogram meter per second. Impulse is equal to the average force times the time interval. So if you exert a force on an object over time, if you multiply the force times the time, you get the impulse. If you don't know the force or the average force, we can use the area under the force versus time graph. Typically, the shape of these graphs will be a rectangle or a triangle. So you just need to be able to find the area of a rectangle or a triangle. For more complicated shapes, you would need some calculus, but for AP Physics 1, you won't get any problems that would require that. Next, we're going to link impulse and momentum through what's called the impulse-momentum theorem, and this just states that the impulse is equal to the change in momentum. The symbol for impulse is either going to be capital I or capital J in some textbooks, and we can rewrite this as I equals delta P or capital J equals delta P. The conservation of momentum is really helpful for solving collision and explosion problems. And you can use the law of conservation of momentum when there's no net external force acting on a system. And this depends on what you make as your system. What are you including in your system? But if there are no net external force acting on your system, then we can state that the total initial momentum equals the total final momentum. Now let's take a look at a few different types of collisions. First, we have elastic collision, where the momentum is conserved and the kinetic energy is also conserved. We have inelastic collision, where the momentum is also conserved, but the kinetic energy is not conserved. And a perfectly inelastic collision is where the two objects, they collide and they stick together. Momentum, once again, is conserved and kinetic energy is not conserved. If you have an explosion, momentum is also conserved, but kinetic energy is not conserved. You'll notice that for all of these collisions and also explosions, that momentum is conserved, but that kinetic energy is only conserved when it's an elastic collision. Question 1. A cart of mass m initially at rest experiences a time-dependent force over a time interval delta t. The force increases linearly from 0 to F max and then returns to 0. Find the cart's final velocity Vf. In this problem, we can use the impulse-momentum theorem, which tells us that the impulse is equal to the change in momentum. To calculate impulse, we can use the average force times the time interval and set that equal to mv final minus mv initial. Since the mass is initially at rest, the mvi is going to be 0. Now, we don't know the average force, but we can use the area under the force versus time graph because that represents the impulse and set that equal to mv final. Now, you'll notice that the shape of this graph is a triangle, so we can use the area of a triangle equation, which is 1/2 base times height. So we have 1 over 2 times the F max, which is the height, times delta t, which is the base, and set that equal to mv final. And dividing m on both sides, we get Vf equals to F max times delta t divided by 2m. Question 2. A block of mass m1 moving at velocity v1 collides with a stationary block of mass m2. After the collision, the blocks stick together. Find their common final velocity vf. In this problem, we're going to use the conservation of momentum, which states that the total initial momentum equals the total final momentum. We can write momentum as m times v. On the left-hand side, we have the initial momentum. On the right-hand side, we have the final momentum. And since the object 2 initially is at rest, we can set this initial momentum of object 2 to be 0. Since the final velocity of both masses will be the same, we're going to factor out the v final, and we'll call that vf. And then we'll divide m1 plus m2 on both sides, and that gives us vf is equal to m1 times v1 divided by m1 plus m2. Question 3. A cart of mass m1 moving at velocity v1 initial collides elastically with a stationary cart of mass m2 initially at rest. Find the final velocities v1f and v2f of both carts. In an elastic collision, both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. Let's first take a look at momentum. When momentum is conserved, that means the total initial momentum equals the total final momentum. And remember that momentum can be represented by mv. So on the left-hand side, we have the total initial momentum, and on the right-hand side, we have the total final momentum. Since object 2 is initially at rest, we can set this value here to 0. This gives us the equation m1 v1 initial equal to m1 v1 final plus m2 v2 final. We're going to bracket this, and we're going to use this later on to solve for the final velocity. Now we're going to look at the kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is conserved in an elastic collision, and so that means that the total initial kinetic energy equals the total final kinetic energy. And kinetic energy is equal to 1 over 2 mv squared. On the left-hand side, we have the total kinetic energy initial, and on the right-hand side, we have the total kinetic energy final. Since mass 2 is not moving, the initial kinetic energy of mass 2 is, we can set that equal to 0. You'll notice that there is a 1/2 on both sides, so we can factor out the 1/2, and that gives us m1 v1 initial squared equal to m1 v1 final squared plus m2 v2 final squared. We're going to bracket this, and we're going to use this equation later to find the final velocities. Now we're going to number our equations. Number 1 will be for our equation that we got from the conservation of momentum. Number 2 will be the equation that we got from the conservation of kinetic energy. And number 3 is a shortcut equation for elastic collisions. I'll put a link in the corner to show you how I derived that. It's very important not simply to just use it, but to understand how we got that equation. First, we're going to plug in equation 3 into equation 1. So equation 1 is m1 v1 initial equal m1 v1 final plus m2 v2 final. Now, instead of writing in v2 final, we're going to plug in v1 initial plus v1 final. Remember that v2 initial is going to be 0. Next, we're going to do some algebra. First, I'm going to distribute this m2 to the terms inside this parentheses. Then I'm going to move the m2 v1 initial to the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract that on both sides. And then next, I'm going to factor out the v1 initial on the left here. And then I'm going to divide both sides by m1 plus m2. I'm going to flip everything on the right with everything on the left, and we end up with v1 final is equal to m1 minus m2 parentheses divided by m1 plus m2 parentheses times v1 initial. Next, we're going to solve for v2 final. We're going to use our shortcut equation again for elastic collisions, and we remember that v2 initial is 0 because it starts from rest. I'm going to take this equation and flip everything around right in the left-hand side. We're going to flip that around. So we get v2 final is equal to v1 initial plus v1 final. But instead of writing v1 final, I'm going to substitute what I got from previously. And next, I want to be able to add this term and this term, and so I need them to have common denominators. So over here, I'm going to multiply m1 plus m2 over m1 plus m2. Basically, I'm multiplying this term by 1, but now I have common denominators, so I can add the terms inside the parentheses, and the m2 will cancel out, which leaves me with 2m1 over m1 plus m2. And so v2 final is equal to 2m1 divided by m1 plus m2 times v1 initial. Question 4. A mass big M initially at rest explodes into two pieces of masses m1 and m2. After the explosion, piece 1 moves with velocity v1. Find the velocity v2 of piece 2. We're going to use the law of conservation of momentum to solve this problem, which states that the total initial momentum equals the total final momentum. Since the objects initially were not moving, the total initial momentum is 0, and the total final momentum is m1 v1 plus m2 v2. We're going to move the m1 v1 to the left-hand side, so it will be negative, and we're solving for v2. I'm going to divide m2 on both sides, so v2 is equal to negative m1 times v1 divided by m2. You notice there's a negative sign, and that negative sign just means that v1 and v2 are moving in opposite directions. Question 5. Two carts of masses m1 and m2 move along a straight, frictionless track with velocities v1 and v2, both to the right. Find the center of mass velocity, vcm, of the two-cart system. The center of mass velocity is equal to the total momentum divided by the total mass. We can write this as m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus ... divided by m1 plus m2 plus ... Using the given variables, the center of mass velocity is simply equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2 divided by m1 plus m2. Question 6. A projectile of mass m moving at speed v0 embeds into a stationary block of mass big M suspended by a string. After the collision, the combined mass swings upward to a maximum height h. Find the initial speed v0. In this problem, we have two parts. In the first part, we have the bullet getting embedded into the stationary mass big M. And then the second part is the mass swinging upwards to a height of h. First, we're going to look at the part where the bullet gets embedded into the mass big M. When the bullet gets embedded into the mass big M, we can use the conservation of momentum, which states that the total initial momentum equals the total final momentum. The initial momentum is just the momentum of the bullet, which is mv0. The final momentum is the momentum of the bullet and the mass big M times their final velocity. And the final velocity is equal to mv0 divided by the mass of the bullet plus the mass of the block, which is big M. As the block swings upward, we can apply the conservation of mechanical energy because the only force doing work here is gravity, which is a conservative force. The conservation of mechanical energy states that the initial potential and kinetic energy is equal to the final potential and kinetic energy. I'm going to use UG and K for the initial and UG prime and K prime for the final. Initially, there is no potential energy, and once it gets to the maximum height, there's no kinetic energy. So we're going to set that to 0. So we get that the kinetic energy equals to the gravitational potential energy final. We can rewrite this as 1 over 2 mv squared is equal to mgh. You'll notice here that the masses will cancel, and that leaves us with 1 over 2 v squared equals gh. Now the v, we're going to substitute the v that we previously solved. We're going to substitute that in here. Now we're going to isolate v0. And first we're going to multiply 2 on both sides and also multiply the quantity m plus big M squared. Next, we're going to square root both sides. So we get mv0 equals to m plus big M square root 2gh. And then we'll divide m on both sides, and that leaves us with v0 is equal to m plus big M times square root 2gh divided by m. If you found this video helpful, check out my next video where I go over 6 classic energy problems you should know.